Hello! So, this is JessicaCross from JessicaCross ASMR and also from JessicaCrossJournals.com. I created a new website because my first website wasn't on WordPress, so I was a bit limited as to what I could do with it, especially without knowledge of coding, which I don't have. So I created a new website that focuses just on the journals. I think it is a good idea anyway, because I think there are going to be people who are interested in the journals who aren't necessarily interested in ASMR, and I think they may get confused by the JessicaCross ASMR website if that's not what they are looking for. So there's that other option. So you can find me on both. I think the blog on WordPress is easier to access too, because it's all in one place instead of having it linked as my other website had it linked. So today I wanted to do a relaxing journaling session with you with a lot of trigger sounds and a lot of just relaxation activities and meditation. And we are going to be using my new journal, 2017 journal. I have started working in it already because it has a section that is wrap up for 2016. So I've started working on that. I also started going through the months and just kind of giving some preliminary information for each month. I don't like to set too much ahead of time because I know things will change for me over the year. So today I want to just get you nice and relaxed and then give you a couple of journal prompts. And this journal is really for people like me who would not consider themselves avid journalers. For those of you who are avid journalers, you will probably want a blank journal that you can use to supplement this, because for most of the questions, you have about half a page for the week. And that's done purposely because I know for me, when I look at lots of blank pages in a journal, I just get overwhelmed and I don't know what to do, and it feels like way too much for me to tackle. And so I wanted to make this something where if you know journaling is important and it's something that you want to try to start or use on a regular basis, but you're just not sure how to work with a blank journal, this will help give you guidance as to how to do that. And for those of you who are avid journalers, it will be a supplement for additional questions that you can ask yourself that will get you out of your regular thought process when you're journaling and to consider a new perspective and a new question, and to really make sure you're doing wrap-ups and looking at what is changing for you month to month and then going over at the end of the year. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I do when I journal and have you try it with me, especially because I think the sounds of journaling are lovely. So there are several sounds I associate with journaling. One is typing, because I often journal or write with my eyes closed. So almost all of my meditations that you will read, I wrote with my eyes closed while in meditation. So I was actually going through the meditation as I was writing it out. So I associate all of those lovely typing sounds with journaling and with writing. Another sound that I associate is cards. Since I was a counselor, I have used especially these power thought cards. I have also collected many other oracle cards and tarot cards and all those things. But it's all started with Power Thought cards by Louise Hayes. Hay, not Hayes. Hay, which many of you know. And it's a very accessible deck for people who are less woo-woo. It doesn't feel as woo-woo. I never use decks or oracle cards as predictions. I use them for prompts and different ways of looking at a situation, ways to get out of my thinking mind. So I like the sounds of cards. I tend to not shuffle these cards. I tend to just kind of cut them like this. And then I tend to pick my card from the middle, whatever calls to me. So, first card I will pick, just to show you what they're like, is I love and approve of myself. I appreciate all that I do. I am good enough just as I am. I speak up for myself. I ask for what I want. And I claim my power. And the way I use these with journaling is often when I'm not sure what my response to a question is, I will pull a couple of cards and then write down my response to what the cards mean in terms of a question. And we'll do a little bit of that. The other sound that I love is the sound of pencil and paper. And that is why I wanted to create a paper journal for you guys. I have created some ebook journals, and I currently have one other shadow work journal that is in paper form. But I like to have a piece of paper. As much as I do a lot of my journaling online and typing, I really wanted a piece of paper, and part of it is because I love this sound. I hope you can hear that. I have a really nice, my mother bought me these Pro Art pencils because I was doing some sketching for a while. And I have some nice, I also like the sound of erasers. So I have a nice eraser. I also just personally love books. I am a huge book nerd. I love Kindle books. I do. I especially love them when I can get them for free from the library, which I do often, because I like to have a book immediately. I don't like to have to wait for books. But I do love paper. I love owning books. I love the smell of books. I love the feel of books. And journaling is a very relaxing and kind of tactile thing for me. So I like having something to work with. And one of the things that I like to do when I'm trying to journal is to do a relaxation exercise or a meditation first, because it helps me get out of my thinking mind and be able to transition into a place where I can think outside the box when I journal. Because if I'm just ruminating on the things that I usually think about, the journaling's not that helpful to me because it's what I've been thinking about anyway. So I really like to use journal to kind of get out of that. So I want to start off with you guys by getting comfortable, taking a few deep breaths with me. And I want you to just begin by letting yourself move away from your body. So with your eyes closed, I want you to picture the room that you are in. Where are you sitting? What does the room look like? create a daydream of this place where you are physically. And honestly, for me in meditation, that is all that meditation is for me quite often. So I am conscious of creating the world that I see. Having said that, in meditation, something always happens that I don't feel I created, that seems to come from outside of me. But it doesn't mean that every minute in meditation has to feel that way. So now that you've pictured this room where you are seated in detail, the color of the walls, what the floor is like, if there's any smells, the temperature, I then want you to picture yourself stepping outside of your body. So you're now looking down at your physical body. And this is not about clearing your head. This is about really creating it like you create a picture when you're reading a book. Look at what you look like, sitting or laying down wherever you are. Then I want you to feel your body raising up and up and up through the ceiling, through the roof. You can see the plane flying overhead as you are up in the sky above the room where your physical body is, floating up, up, up to the clouds. And as you reach a cloud, I want you to pull yourself up over the edge. And you see a guide sitting in the middle of the cloud. The cloud feels a bit spongy but firm underneath your feet as you walk towards your guide. And I want you to greet them. What does your guide look like? Again, this is not about clearing your mind. Who do you see sitting there? Is it someone you're familiar with? Is it a person? Is it an animal? Is it an otherworldly being? Take whoever is there. It could be a character from a book you know, or a movie or television. It's okay. Whatever it is fine. And greet them. And join them. And now I want you to ask them what they are there to teach you. And just give it a minute. Don't push anything out of your mind. Anything you receive is correct, even if it doesn't make sense to you. So it may be a picture, it may be a thought, it may be a feeling, it may be words. Take whatever is given and don't try to judge it. Now, what are they there to teach you? Then I want you to ask them what the lesson was for you for this past year, and see what you receive. Thank them and ask if they have anything else for you before you depart. thank your guide, and then return to the edge of the cloud and let yourself drift over the side and back down towards the building where your physical body is. And pass through the roof and the ceiling back into your physical body. Begin to hear the sounds around your physical body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. And now, if you don't have a journal or a piece of paper, and you want one, you can pause to go and retrieve one, or you can also type onto your computer, if that is easier for you. If you have my journal, on page 6, there is, and I've already started writing in mine, there is the question under 2016 reflection, what this year's lesson was. So before you think too much, you can write down what you received from your guide. If you didn't receive much, you can free associate and just think about what are the words that pop into your head. And again, don't pass judgment on them. They may teach you something even if they don't make any sense when you think about them later, and just write them down. So what are the words that you think of about your lessons for this year? And if you are still struggling with what your lesson is, that's okay. It's possible to come back to this many times. I know I will write about this one question probably on 3 or 4 different occasions before 2017. And then I may return to it when I'm doing my planning for 2017 as well. And now I want you to consider another question from later in the journal. And I want you to think about, let me find a good one that makes sense on its own. So your next question is, I feel out of balance in this area. And again, without judging, just write down 3 to 5 words. And once you have done that, you can then go through and think about each individual issue that you have written about, each word that has come up to you. And even if after thinking about it doesn't make any sense, try to consider what that has to do with where you are feeling out of balance. And I'm going to also pull a card to help. So what came up is, I have the perfect living space. I see myself living in a wonderful place. It fulfills all my needs and desires. It's in a beautiful location and at a price I can afford. So for most of us, that's not the case, I would say. So the point of pulling a card like that is to get you to start thinking about, what is it about your environment that is out of balance? Where can you bring more of what you want from your environment into balance? And it doesn't have to be all at once. One of the things I have learned over the past year, I am a very impatient person, and I know that about myself. Doesn't mean I give up, but I'm constantly a bit frustrated that things aren't going faster than they are. And for me, although most of the big things in my life that I've wanted have come true, they never come quickly for me. They always take a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of patience. And I have had to learn that it's rare that all of a sudden things change for me. What is more common is that little tweaks happen over time. And then at one point, years later, I look back and think, wow, my life is totally different from 2 years ago. So I think about my anxiety levels and how high they used to be and how debilitating my anxiety used to be. And I can't even really tell you when that switched. Just in the past 4 or 5 years. It got better before then, but the real switches happened over the past 4 or 5 years. And it has not been dramatic. It has been gradual. And I can't pinpoint one thing that did it, because it's almost never one thing. It's lots of little things. At least for me, I know some people have miracles happen. I know they do, but maybe it's not the way I learn, because it doesn't happen for me. And my learning tends to come much slower. So if there's an area that's out of balance, don't think about, I have to quit my job and I have to move away. Think about, what is one small thing that I could do today that would bring that closer to balance. Not perfect. We're never perfect. We're always just moving closer towards what we want and hopefully farther away from what we don't want, little by little. And then the minute we reach what we thought we wanted, we'll find something else we want. So we never get there. It's just a process of moving closer and closer to happiness, and hopefully reaching it during periods of our lives. Often for long periods of our lives. I would say I am more happy than I am not, although I have rough times. This year has been a rough year. So think of things like that when you're thinking about balance. And then I'm going to leave you with one final question. And it is, this will help me heal. So it ties in so well with what is out of balance, because it asks you to actually think of what will make you heal. So write down 3 or 5 to 5 words right now, and I'll do that with you. And I'll pick a card for you too, just to give you some more perspective. My next journal that's coming out, it's a year and a day journal, and it's a lot of statements like these, just to get you to change your perspective a little bit. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. That's perfect. So that's really what my next journal does, is it helps you think about what are the thoughts and beliefs that you hold, and what are alternatives. I am not limited by any past thinking. I choose my thoughts with care. I constantly have new insights and new ways of looking at my world. I am willing to change and grow. Lovely. So that's what the back looks like. These are such pretty cards. My clients always liked pulling a card when they came into my counseling office. And I'll just tell you my 3 words. So the 3 things that would help me heal right now is rest, gratitude, and help. So I'm going to figure out how to get all of those things today, which I can do. I can ask for help. I have a few people in my life that I am lucky enough to be able to ask for help. And I think my husband will be making dinner tonight. Gratitude, I always have at my fingertips. I need to just remember it. And rest, I can actually take right now, even if it is 10 minutes of a meditation or of just laying in bed and not thinking for a little bit. And I'm so thankful for all of you. It's a good place to start with gratitude. Is my tribe means so much to me. You guys are so good to me and so supportive of me and understanding of me, and it means the world. And I hope this has been relaxing for you. I didn't tap on many things. I also like that sound. I don't know if you like that. I like the sound of this box. And I like the sound of the cover of the book. So I hope, even if you didn't do the journal with me, I hope you did. I really believe in asking those kind of questions and not always having just the right answer, but trying to seek out the answer. It's that journey that's just as important as anything else. So I do hope you do that with me, and if not, I just hope this was relaxing, because that's not a just. Someone with anxiety, I know it's sometimes the most important thing, and the thing that can get us to a place where maybe we can make some of the changes we need to make. So I love you all, and if I don't make another video before, I hope you have a wonderful end of the year. I probably will make a video before, but if not, I will definitely have blogs that are coming out on JessicaCross journals if you want to check them out, and keeping in touch with you guys over this sometimes very difficult time of the year. So do consider what this year has meant to you and what you want going forward, instead of just letting the world happen to you. So I love you. Have a good one.